Jai Shri Ram. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna used about 22 similes. A simile is a figure of speech, like metaphors. Life is a bed of roses. Life is not a bed of roses. That's a metaphor. Life is like a bicycle. You have to keep riding. If you want to stay still, you will fall. So that is a simile. When you use the expression like a, that's called a simile. When you say life is X, that's a metaphor. Life is like an X, that's a simile. So, and synonyms for the word metaphor is upamanamu in Telugu, in Hindi upaman, an analogy, something similar. The English synonyms are trope, T-R-O-P-E. Trope means a metaphor. Allegory. Allegory means a fable. Allegorical means metaphorical, symbolical, representative, fabled, not true, imagined. Of course, Gandhiji believed that the whole of Mahabharata, Ramayana, all are allegorical. He thought they were allegorical. The truth is, there is enough evidence from so many aspects, from archaeology, anthropology, literature, so much history. So Ramayana is not allegorical, Mahabharata is also not allegorical, they are perfectly historical. Okay, so in the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna used 22. I listed out 22. Actually, if you can stretch your imagination, maybe I can include a little more, but I'll stop at 22. Because these are the main similes that Krishna employed. First one, 2.22. Second chapter, 22nd verse. Worn out clothes. Vasamsi jirnani yadha vihaya navani ghrannati naroparani तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णान अन्यानि samyati navani dehi. Worn out clothes, old clothes ante paata battalu. 2.22. See, when your clothes get old and worn out, you throw them and you buy a new set of clothes. So Krishna uses this simile to say that our body, once it becomes old, the Atma discards it and acquires a new body to work out its karma. So that is a simple simile, easy to understand. Well, what is the deeper symbolism? Karma will chase you. See, the whole problem with samsara, samsara is described as life, the whole trouble that we take in order to maintain our families and live and earn, pursue the purusharthas, dharmartha, kama, moksha, earning money and trying to satisfy our desires, all this samsara. So Krishna also already describes in a shloka, he says, Mamupetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramangataha. So he described this life as dukkhalayam ashashvatam, the abode of sorrow, and it is not shashvat, not permanent. It is transient, fugitive, fugacious, ephemeral, evanescent. It is not permanent. Nothing is permanent. All this is fleeting. All your wealth and everything. That's why I don't take anything too seriously. Things come and go. Our fortunes rise and fall. The vicissitudes and vagaries of life are always there, ups and downs. So, and in another verse, Krishna says, in the 9th chapter, Kim punar brahmana punya bhakta rajarshayasthada anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. Anityam asukham lokam. So in two places, dukkhalayam ashashvatam, he said that. Now he is saying anityam. Anityam asukham lokam. Kim punar brahmana punya bhakta rajarshayastadha anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. Once you land in this anityam asukham, anityam, that is temporary, evanescent. Asukham, that means sorrow, it's an abode of sorrow. Once you land here, become my devotee, direct command. Then I can save you. If not, then you will have to struggle. You are on your own. He will always be there, but he will be watching. He will be involved in guiding, taking care of you when you want him to. Huh? Just like, Dharmaraja, Yudhishthira never wanted Krishna to interfere when he was playing those games of dice. So Krishna, that's why he did not interfere. Dharmaraja not once, like Draupadi, Draupadi at one point cried out, Krishna Krishna Mahayogin Vishwatma Vishwabhavana Prapannam Pahi Govinda Kuru Madhye Vasidatim. Then Krishna appeared and gave her the saris and saved her. But Yudhishthira never did that. Yudhishthira never wanted Krishna to interfere. So Krishna is already seated in our heart. He is an eternal witness. He is there with us all the time. But Yudhishthira never wanted him to interfere. So Krishna said, okay, as per your wish, go ahead. Keep, playing and destroy yourself. So now, 2.22 we just finished. The next shloka is 2.46. Reservoir of water. यावान अर्थ उदपाने सर्वतः संप्लुतोदके तावान सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्राह्मणस्य विजानतः. So the Vedas become redundant for one who knows the truth. See, it's a very bold statement actually. There are some Vedic scholars and some detractors of Krishna who feel offended because of this shloka. 2.46. Because what Krishna is saying, for a wise man who knows all the Vedas have no more value than a well when water is flowing everywhere. For a wise man who knows the truth, who knows reality, that the ultimate reality is Krishna. The Veda itself says, Vedartha Krishna Ramayoho. Vedartha Krishna Ramayoho. So the Veda is proclaiming. The whole purpose of the study of Veda is to understand Rama and Krishna. So once you know this much, then all the Vedas have no more value than a well when there is water flowing all around you. So that is the comparison. So if there is a reservoir of water, huge reservoir, what is the need of a well? So Veda becomes as useful or rather as useless as a well. So great saints like Raidas, Tukaram, all these great saints, Sants, so all of them, for them their bhakti was itself sufficient. So that is 2.46. Then next 2.58. Please make a note. 2.58. Tortoise. Yadha samharate chayam kurmongani va sarvashah indriyani indriyartebhyah tasya prajna pratishtita. Just as a tortoise withdraws its limbs whenever it senses any danger, a tortoise pulls back its head and limbs when it senses danger. Similarly, Krishna advises, when you face temptations, or when you are scared that you might lose control over your senses or your mind, and you might indulge in some activity which you might have to regret later, then don't let the temptation take over you. Just withdraw your senses. Go back into like a tortoise, withdraw your senses. And go into deep meditation. Think of Krishna and say, Krishna, please save me from this. So like a tortoise, you withdraw your senses, all the 5 senses. Sit down calmly for some time. Wait for the moment of temptation. Temptation is never permanent. It will pass away. So very simple. If you are very angry, also keep calm. Wait for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Don't say anything. Because things said in anger will be regretted for a lifetime. Things done in anger can lead to murder, serious crimes. In fact, most crimes are committed in the heat of the passion. Some cold-blooded criminals are also there. Nevertheless, it's all because your emotions have gone out of control. When a person has his emotions perfectly under control, he has to be a sant. Now, I don't like the word saint because it reminds me of Christianity. Christian saints were all people who believed that infidels, unbelievers, have to be proselytized, converted, or tortured. The Inquisition was there. The Inquisition was a medieval tribunal to stamp out all heresy and torture all people, all heretics, infidels, all of them who did not accept Christianity had to be tortured. In India, the Goan Inquisition took place. Spanish Inquisition, all over the world, the Christians conducted this. Their objective is simple: either you convert or face the torture and finally be burnt alive. They burnt the heretics at the stake, torture and kill. So that is there in their holy book. So, and these people who did it as a passion, they were called saints. They were conferred sainthood. So these are dangerous criminals actually. So I don't like the word saint. I would always prefer to use the word sant. Sant. The Hindu sant is truly liberal, magnanimous, charitable, compassionate. The Hindu sant will never tell you to convert anybody. In fact, the whole concept of conversion is not there in Hinduism. No conversion, no inquisition, no torture, no killing infidels. Mlecha is a term that we use, and the word occurs in all the Hindu Shastras. Mlecha means one who doesn't accept the authority of the Vedas. But we have no problem. We don't want to convert or kill them because our Shastras don't say that. Okay, so the next 2.67, just as a strong wind sweeps a boat away, so also your uncontrolled mind can be swept away by the uncontrolled senses. So be careful. Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano nuvidhiyate tadasya harati prajnam vayurnavami vambhasi. Ambhasi means water. Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano nuvidhiyate tadasya harati prajnam. Your wisdom will be swept away. Vayurnavami vambhasi. Nav means a boat. Nav, Hindi word. So Vayurnav, just as the wind, a strong wind will sweep a boat away, so also your senses can hijack your mind completely. So if you don't keep your senses under control, you are ruined. You will be finished. So the next analogy is 3.38, third chapter, 38th verse. Dhumena vriyate vahnir yada darsho malena cha yadholbenavruto garbha tada tenedamavrutam. There are three similes here. Krishna says, as a flame is covered by smoke, just as fire is enveloped by smoke, and just as a mirror is covered by dust, and an embryo by the amnion, so also is knowledge covered by ignorance or selfish desire. Dhumena vriyate vahnir yadha darsho malena cha. Darsha means mirror, malena, mal, dust. Yadholbena avruto garbha tada tenedam avrutam. So that was the next one. So the next one is 3.39. In this, Krishna is telling us that desire is like an insatiable fire. Insatiable means can never be satisfied. All desires are actually insatiable. Just as when a fire is there, if you pour any fuel into the fire, you can't extinguish the fire. It will become bigger and stronger. Similarly, whenever you satisfy a desire, temporarily it is sort of sated, but it will blaze again and the fire keeps on increasing. So you cannot extinguish desires by satisfying or gratifying your senses. That is not the way. So here Krishna is comparing in 3.39. Avrutam jnanametena jnanino nityavairina kamarupena kaunteya dushpurena analena cha. Dushpurena, insatiable. Anil means Agni, fire. Arjuna, knowledge stands covered by this eternal enemy of the wise man, known as desire, which is insatiable like fire. Desire is insatiable like fire. So that was the next simile. And now we'll go on to the next one. 5th chapter, 10th verse, in which Krishna is now using the most famous simile, like a what you call a lotus leaf. We must live like a lotus leaf or a drop of water nestling on a lotus leaf. I will read the shloka. You must have heard of this. Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate nasapapena padmapatramivambhasa. Padmapatramivambhasa. like a drop of water sitting on the lotus leaf, which the moment the leaf is slightly tilted, the drop will roll away. It sits on the lotus leaf almost like a pearl, but actually it appears to be sitting, but it is detached. So live in this world just like that. Be detached. We own nothing. We are given all the amenities, facilities in life because of our own prarabdha. We actually earned all these things, the good and the bad, the happiness and the joys and the sorrows and dukkhams. These are all our own income from earlier births, whatever prarabdham we have acquired, right? So, but nothing, all this is impermanent. We actually own nothing. We don't even own our own bodies, because if you are a true owner, you should be able to control everything about it. We cannot prevent ourselves from falling sick or becoming old or dying. So the body is also the result of our prarabdha, right? So you don't own the body. You are a temporary possessor. So be detached. Now this shloka 5:10, I already read it out. So brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate na sa papena padmapatra mivambhasa. So he who acts offering all actions to me, and who has shaken off all attachment, who is totally detached, remains untouched by any papam, just as the lotus leaf by water. The lotus leaf is not touched by the water. Okay, so that is 5:10. That was the 8th simile. Okay, the next 9th one, 6.19, where Krishna is saying your mind should be like a lamp in a windless space. So, यथा दीपो निवातस्थो नेंगते सोपमा स्मृता योगिनो यथचित्तस्य युञ्जतो योगमात्मनः. Just as a light does not flicker in a windless place, such is stated to be the picture of a disciplined mind. A disciplined mind of a yogi who is practicing Buddhi Yoga. That means Buddhi Yoga means immersion in Krishna consciousness. You are immersed in Krishna Bhakti. That is Buddhi Yoga. That's all. So his mind does not flicker. How does it not flicker? How is it compared? To a lamp in a windless space. Yadha deepo nivatasto naingate sopama smita yogino yadachittasya yunjato yogamatmanaha. So that was 6:19. Next is 6:34. Now 6:34, this is the next analogy. I think the number is number 10, where actually it is Arjuna. Arjuna is now complaining. He is saying the mind is very, very mercurial, turbulent, adamant, and very strong. How do I control this? And controlling this is more difficult than controlling the wind. So Arjuna is now becoming very creative, and he uses these similes. He says, Arjuna is actually saying, Chanchalam hi manah Krishna. Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramadhi balavadrudham tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. Krishna, the mind is very, very unsteady, mercurial, capricious, fickle, and then turbulent. Pramadi, turbulent. See, pramadam in Tamil means beautiful. Pramadam in Telugu means danger. Pramadam in Sanskrit means very agitated, turbulent, heedless, not following good advice. And the mind is adamant, tenacious, like a bulldog. And it is very powerful also. So how do I control? And I consider it as difficult to control, as difficult as control, or perhaps more difficult to control than the wind itself. The suggestion is maybe we can control the wind, but not the mind. Of course, Krishna gives a very simple advice. There, of course, he is not using any, or you can say there is an analogy or a symbol here itself. Krishna says, Asamshayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. So Abhyasa Vairagya, practice and detachment, continuous practice and total detachment. These are the ways in which you can control the mind. Otherwise, it's not possible. So the next one is 7.7, seventh chapter, the seventh shloka, which I think the simile is number 11. Okay, number 11. Please make a note. We are doing PhD in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, all of us. Krishna is now saying, seventh chapter, seventh shloka. Yeah, it's a very famous shloka. Krishna is saying, everything, all these galaxies, the multiverse, the universe, everything is strung on me like clusters of gems on a string. All this is strung on me. Mattah parataram nan yatkinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. So everything is like gems on a string. When you see a necklace, you don't see the string. You see only all the diamonds and gemstones and pearl necklace. You see the pearls, but they are all sustained by a string that is running through them. The string is never seen. Similarly, Krishna is the string that holds everything in place. Krishna holds everything, the entire universe, like the unseen string in a necklace. Okay. The next simile is 9th chapter, 6th shloka. This is the 12th one, the 12th simile. So I am giving you the number also, 9-6. Here Krishna is saying, just as the air which is moving everywhere ever remains in space, likewise know that all beings who have originated from my thought, they also abide in me. यथाकाश स्थितो नित्यं वायु सर्वत्र गो महान तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि मत्स्थानि मत्स्थानीत्युपधारया. So that is the next simile, right? So there are various interpretations. Wind within space, wind exists within space, but the space is untouched. Okay. So the next simile, 11th chapter, 12th shloka, that is the 13th one now. Okay. In the 11th chapter, which is the Vishwarupa Sandarshana Yoga, Arjuna now says, Arjuna beheld the whole universe, and he felt as if thousands of suns were bursting in the sky. And even if 1,000 suns were to burst, still probably they will pale in comparison to the effulgence of the Lord. Even if there were 1,000 suns bursting forth all at once in the sky, in the heavens, even that would hardly approach the splendor of the Vishwarupam of Sri Krishna. Divisurya sahasrasya bhavedyuga paduthita yadiba sadrushi sasyat bhasastasya mahatmanaha. So this is the simile of even 1,000 suns, if they were to burst forth simultaneously, they will still pale in comparison to the radiance of the Lord. Then the 14th simile, 11:28, 11th chapter, 28th shloka. Here Krishna is using the simile of innumerable rivers. Okay, he says, just as many rivers rush towards the sea, so also, actually Arjuna is saying this, right? So also warriors of the mortal world are entering your flaming mouths. This is not Krishna's simile, Arjuna is. Yadha nadinam bahavombu vegaha samudramevabhi mukha dravanti तथा तवामी नरलोक वीरा विशंति वक्त्रान yabhivijwalanti. So Krishna's epiphany, or sort of what you call theophany, theophany means Vishwarupam. As Arjuna is seeing, Krishna is Kal. He has come to destroy all these rascals, and Arjuna could see literally everyone rushing into his mouths. So that is the next 11:28 was the 14th simile. Next is 1129, 15th simile. And Arjuna continues, as moths, moth, moth. Moths are, insects which when get attracted to a flame and finally die, they rush into the flame. Just as moths rush with great speed into the blazing fire, and kill themselves out of their own folly, even so all these people are with great rapidity entering your mouths to meet their doom. यथा प्रदीप्तं ज्वलनं पतंगा विशन्ति नाशाय समृद्धवेगाः तथैव नाशाय विशन्ति लोकाः स्तवापि वक्त्राणि समृद्धवेगाः. So that is 1129. Next is 13.1, 13th chapter, first shloka. Krishna is saying, actually in the 13th chapter there are 34 shlokas in some books and 35 in some books. 35 because the first shloka is actually Arjuna questioning Krishna, which has been removed in many books because that is redundant. Because Krishna is anyway, the question is redundant. Anyway, so 13th chapter first, Sri Bhagavan Vacha, Krishna is now saying that this body is like a field, and he who knows this field knows the truth. And so Krishna is saying, idam shariram kaunteya kshetram ityabhidiyate etadyo vetitam prahuhu kshetrajna iti tadviddaha. This body, Arjuna, is called the kshetra, field, and he who knows it, the rishis discerning the truth about both, refer to as the knower of the field. So kshetrajna, our jivatma is the kshetrajna, and Krishna also is the kshetrajna. He knows everything about everyone because he is seated in the heart of every living being, every jivatma, every animal, every tree. Therefore don't eat meat. If you are eating meat, that is a mahapatakam. Because of ignorance up till now you may have been eating meat. Stop it immediately, because that is a mahapatakam. Mamsaha. You will have to take birth as a chicken, and the chicken will take birth as a man, and then it will cut your neck. And anyway, every animal loves life. The chicken has its family, the goat has its family, the cow, the buffalo, they all have their family, mummy, daddy, mata, pita, brothers, sisters. They all want to live life. You cannot produce meat without himsa. So please avoid himsa. Okay. So there are many fools who talk about ahimsa but eat non-vegetarian. These are idiots, hypocrites. And they tolerate others who are eating. That is even more. And say that all religions are good. When the other religion is actually killing every animal and eating every animal, how can it be called good? And then they talk about Sarva Dharma, Vada Pav, rubbish. Okay. Now let us go back. Next, where did I stop? So 13th chapter, first shloka was the body compared to a field. Next, 1333. In 1333, like the sun that singly illuminates the whole world, so also the jivatma illuminates the entire body. 1333. Yadha prakashayatyeka krutsnam lokamimam ravihi kshetram kshetri tatha krutsnam prakashayati bharata. Just as one sun illumines the entire world, so also the Atma illumines the whole kshetra. So consciousness is not concentrated in your head. Where is your mind? People think it is in their head, brain. But the mind and consciousness are spread throughout the body. Okay? So it is not localized in the head. Anyway, so that's another discussion some other time. So this was the analogy. The number is 1333, 17th simile. Now the 18th simile in 1332. 1332. Krishna is saying, though all pervading, the subtle sky is unstained, so also the Jivatma, the self, Atma, in all bodies, animal, tree, humans, is there in the body, but it is untouched by the body. That is why Krishna, elsewhere in Uttar Gita, he says, Atyanta malinam deham dehi atyanta nirmalaha. Ubhayor antaram jnatva kasya shaucham vidhiyate. That means the body is exceedingly impure. The Atma is purity personified. Once you know the difference of these two, whose purity do you want to bring about? It's meaningless. The body is exceedingly impure. The body is impurity personified. So there is no amount of, it's not possible to clean it. You can apply perfume, you can apply makeup, but still it's impure. The Atma is purity personified, which does not need any. You don't use any cosmetics for your Atma, right? You are using cosmetics for your face. But when will you use any cosmetics for your Atma? Bhagavad Gita is the cosmetics. It is the entire vanity case. Okay, that is my analogy now, my simile. Okay, the Bhagavad Gita is the vanity case. If you go on chanting, when you are applying fair and lovely and all face creams to make up for the face, so make up for the soul, make up for the Atma is Bhagavad Gita. Okay, okay, I don't want to explain this now. Now the next one, 1332. यथा सर्वगतं सौक्ष्म्यात् आकाशं नोपलिप्यते सर्वत्रावस्थितो देहे तदात्मा नोपलिप्यते. As the all pervading sky is not tainted because of its subtlety, so seated everywhere in the body, the self is not touched, not affected by the attributes of the body, because of the Atma being attributeless and purity, pure, it is untouched. So that's a deeply philosophical observation about Atma, which is there in not just humans, animals, insects, trees, and everything. So that is why Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma, Vedas, Bhagavad Gita do not allow meat eating. Meat eating is papam. Sin is a silly Christian concept. Sin means disobedience of the word of God. God said, don't eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge. And Adam and Eve disobeyed. So that's called sin, and that is called original sin. And this original sin committed by Adam and Eve in eating that pineapple or apple or watermelon, whatever, that fruit of the tree of knowledge. Then all humans have been affected by this original sin, because Adam is now considered universal man. And therefore every human being is a born sinner. You and I are all born sinners. That's the Christian good news, that you are all born sinners, and Jesus was sacrificed in order to save us. So we are now saved. The Hindu good news is very simple. Nobody is a born sinner. There's no need for anybody to come. God need not send his daughter to get raped and killed, or his son to be sacrificed. No. We are all originally divine and eternal companions of Krishna. That is the Hindu good news, which I think is a better good news. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Next one, 19th one, is 15.1. 15th chapter, first slokam, 19th, where Krishna is actually comparing this whole samsara to a big inverted tree, an inverted banyan tree, okay, or pipala tree actually, because Ashwatha, urdhvamulamadasyakam ashwatham prahuravyayam chandansi yasya parnani yastam veda savedavit. He who knows this Ashwatha tree in the form of creation, this samsara is eternal, imperishable, nobody knows when it started. Its roots are in Krishna, and the trunk is represented by Brahma, the creator, and the leaves are the Vedas. And he who understands this is the knower of the intention of the Vedas. So, and then Krishna next goes on to say what? So 15.1, he has compared the whole universe or the whole world, our life and relationships and all this business called living is an inverted tree. The inverted pipala tree, Ashwatha Vruksham. Okay. And actually it spreads and keeps big. The family keeps increasing. Our desires keep increasing. So Krishna actually says you must cut the trunk of this tree with the axe of detachment. That is the next simile. Hmm? Okay. So the 15th chapter, 3rd and 4th, where this Krishna, the simile is the axe or sword or weapon of detachment. Of course, to cut a tree, you need an axe. So, therefore, the axe of detachment is necessary to cut off our attachment to everything in this world. Nothing belongs to us. Don't be obsessed about your wife and children and parents and even your own body. Lokavasana, Shastra Vasana, Dehavasana. Get rid of all this. Be detached. Be involved. Be immersed, but detached. Be immersed, but detached. So, न रूपमस्येह ततोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन छित्त्वा. The nature of this tree of creation does not actually turn out to be what it seems to be. Actually, it has no beginning, no end, no stability. It won't be the same tomorrow. That's why it's called Ashwatha. The word actually Ashwatha means Nashva sthasyati. Nashva sthasyati. That which does not have any stability, which means that which will not be the same tomorrow. So the samsara keeps changing. Why weep about something that is changing? Nothing is permanent here. Okay, nothing is satya here. There was a philosopher who once asked a very interesting question. See, when people die, we weep. That means being came into existence and now he is no longer in existence, so therefore we die. Therefore we say that he died and we start weeping for that person who died. Interestingly, the question is there is also, before he was born, he did not exist. So we should cry at that time also when he did not exist. Pre-birth non-existence and post-death non-existence. For post-death non-existence we are weeping, but we are not weeping for pre-birth non-existence. Your answer will be, we don't even know that this fellow has come into existence. So that is how you will try to defend it. But it's an interesting thought-provoking question. When you are not weeping for this non-existence, which is pre-birth non-existence, why are you weeping for post-death non-existence? These two are two types of non-existence. But for one you are weeping, but for the other you are not weeping. Either you weep for both or you stop this weeping. Interesting, isn't it? Okay. So in 13.3, that is 15th chapter, third one, acts of detachment. So that was the 20th. Okay. 21, 15.8. Krishna is actually saying about rebirth. Taking the mind and the senses from the body, which it leaves behind, and migrates to another body. How does it do that? Just as a wind carries the scents from the flowers or from the seed or whichever source, so too the Jivatma, which is the controller of the body, takes the mind and the senses from the body. That is how the vasanas get transferred. So your prarabdha, your vasanas, your linga sharira, karana sharira, causal body, sukshma sharira, there are so many terms. So all these tendencies get carried by the jivatma and now it gets a new body, but all the old vasanas are still there. Shariram yadavapnoti yachapyutkramatiishvara गृहीत्वैतानि samyati vayurgandhani vashayat. So just as wind takes away, carries the scents from flowers or whatever source, so also the jivatma carries away the subtle tendencies, the vasanas, samskaras. When a person dies, so his sukshma sharira, the jivatma carries this sukshma sharira with all the tendencies. So that is the 21st one. And the 22nd one, 1861. In the 18th chapter, 61st shloka, the shloka says that Krishna abides in the hearts of all creatures, humans, animals, insects, trees, and causes them to go about their life almost as if they are like puppets mounted on a revolving kind of disc. Like He is the puppeteer. Well, actually, he is not the puppeteer. We create our own prarabdha, and then the prarabdha controls us. So anyway, Krishna is saying, Ishvara sarvabhutanam hrideshirjuna tishtati Brahmayan sarvabhutani yantrarudhani mayaya. So Krishna is seated in the hearts of all creatures and causes them to revolve according to their own karma by his maya, seated as those beings are in the vehicle of the body. So this is a very interesting simile. 1861. We're all revolving like puppets. So if you can completely abandon all sense of doership, all sense of ownership, and all expectation of reward, then you are truly detached, and Krishna will become your ex-promiser. EXPROMISSOR. Ex-promiser is a word which means a person who repays your debts. You take a loan, he will pay the loan. Wonderful, isn't it? So all the karmic repercussions will not affect you once you become a prapanna. That means you have totally surrendered to Krishna. 1866. Krishna's covenant. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. So to get out of this mess and samsara, once you surrender, it is my analogy, my simile is, it is akin to pulling the plug on attachment. Pull the plug. So once you pull the plug or switch off the fan, it will revolve for some time. Similarly, our body, as long as the prarabdha is there, this body is destined to live for a particular amount of time. You will live for a particular amount of time. But once you become a prapanna, it is like switching off the fan or pulling the plug. So the body will continue to live for some time, and once the body falls away, that person is given moksha. That is called sadhyo mukti, direct. He will not come back again. That is the benefit of being a Krishna Bhakta. Be in the world, enjoy what comes your way, but enjoy with detachment, and teach people how to enjoy. Because Ishavasya Upanishad says, Ishavashyamidam sarvam yat kinchit jagatyan jagat tena tyaktena bhunjida ma gridha kasya svidhanam. Tena tyaktena bhunjida means enjoy with detachment. So nobody is saying don't enjoy. Enjoy, but do not cause harm. Because if you don't enjoy, Krishna will suffer. Because Krishna is seated in our heart. And Krishna also said, Karshayanta sharirastam Mam chaivanta sharirastham Tan vidya asura nischayam Karshayanta sharirastham Bhutagrama machetasaha Mam chaivanta sharirastham Tan vidya asura nischayam. Krishna is complaining. He is saying that these fools are torturing the body and they are thinking that they are doing some great tapasya. They are causing me suffering because I am in the body. So the implication is, if you enjoy, Krishna enjoys. Because he is seated inside. If you suffer, he also suffers. So please don't suffer. Learn how to enjoy. And work only for Krishna. Do Krishna's work, which is Loka Sangraham. What is Loka Sangraham? Setting the right example. Not forcing, converting people. Inspiring them with your example so that they too feel, I too should do this. So that is called Loka Sangraham. Loka Sangraham, in other words, means preventing people from straying onto the path of adharma and dragging them away from adharma and bringing them to the path of dharma by setting the right example. And therefore, in this way, you work for the welfare of mankind. In fact, the welfare of all creation. That is called Loka Sangraham. So we discussed all the similes. I listed out 22 similes. 22 similes in the Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna makes high philosophy easy to understand with all these similes. So please listen to them again. Maybe you should listen to it. Increase the speed and listen to it and list out. Remember, we are all doing PhD in Bhagavad Gita. Someday we will all be world teachers. We will all preach the message of Krishna worldwide, because only Bhagavad Gita can save mankind. Eh? It is the obligation and the duty and the burden of every Hindu to save mankind. Jai Shri Ram.